Hello little hoes, my name is Kristen and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another top 5 video. Today I will be talking about 5 of my favorite garden products, be it fertilizer or chemicals. Now, these 5 things aren't the only thing I have in my arsenal. I have other things that I use semi-frequently, but these 5 are honestly the things I find myself grabbing out of it the most. Let me start with the fertilizers. And I'm just going to combine these two as one just for time's sake and because I do frequently use these together. This is what I primarily use to fertilize all my plants. I have had other synthetic things, use them somewhat frequently, but ended up resorting to this. And I grew up with my parents using this in their vegetable garden, fish fertilizer, and more bloom. Fish fertilizer, well, they're both quite stinky, and I will say, with these guys especially, and honestly a lot of more organic options of fertilizers, they're gonna stink. I tend to apply them when I'm going to be gone for the day or toward the evening and let it dissipate as I sleep, and it's not too bad the next morning. Fish fertilizer or fish emulsion, depending on the brand you use, it's going to be higher in nitrogen. I use this primarily on all of my leafy plants, things that I really don't care if they flower or they're not typically flowering plants. This is going to help with your blooms. And then the last one is good root health and vigor. I typically use this more often than the more bloom, but occasionally I will put in some of this just to give it some all-around balance. I do fertilize my plants all year round. Personally, I think that if your plants are in an artificial setting, such as indoors, under grow lights, humidifiers, all these things that we bring in to make our plants happy, they're likely going to be growing to some extent, maybe not as much as in the spring and summer months when it's really warm, but they are growing. And unless a plant goes semi-dormant or dormant, I still continue to fertilize during the winter, just not as heavily or frequently. Nowadays, I probably fertilize monthly. I think probably in the height of spring and summer, I was fertilizing every 2 to 3 weeks. Again, it's kind of just as I remember to do it. I am super happy with both of these products, both for indoors and out. I don't particularly care, honestly, if a product is organic or inorganic when it comes to houseplants, since I'm not really ingesting any of my plants, but I like this because I see really good results with it. And I do notice that the plants seem more vigorous, healthy, and I do notice, especially with the fish fertilizer, the heavier nitrogen fertilizer, that I see a lot of vegetative growth in response to fertilizing. It takes a couple of weeks to notice it, but I do notice it. Second thing I use is Root and Grow, which literally is just a liquid rooting hormone or indolbutyric acid. I've talked about indolbutyric acid before. It's one of my first videos on making homemade rooting hormone. This is just a synthetic form of that. It comes in liquid. You can get it in powder. I particularly like the liquid because I use it in sort of a different way. I add a little bit of this to my water when I am soaking newly transplanted plants. I do think that this helps stimulate root growth and encourage it to transplant better. I have sold Super Thrive before, and it is a B vitamin that touts that it's good with transplant shock. I personally don't really think it works super great, but I am happy with this. I think it just helps give plants a little boost, especially if either you have some roots that aren't really growing very fast, cuttings even. this is the product I like to use to help stimulate that. This is Fungicide. This is a sulfur-based fungicide. I think it's important that anyone growing houseplants, plants in general, have a sort of good all-purpose fungicide on hand. The sulfur is just the one that I grabbed. You can probably use copper just as easily. I'm very happy with this. I've used it on a number of things that have had foliar problems. It does stink. If you use it, don't mistake it for a gas leak or eggs rotting in the fridge. It smells to high heaven, but just do it in a well-ventilated area and prepare your olfactory system. It is strong, but it works. When I bought my Philodendron rugosum aberrant form from the plant farm, it had some really nasty sort of sooty mold going on the undersides of the leaves. I used this and successfully nuked it. I've used this on a variety of other things with pretty decent luck. So, sulfur fungicide. This is Captain Jack's Dead Bug, and this is a Spinosad based product, which is, I believe, just a fermented soil bacterium that they process, put in liquid form here. I am a little bit newer to using this. I've used it with somewhat success in sort of a nursery setting, but I am very happy with this, using it on my houseplants. You guys may remember a while ago I had a small outbreak of thrip. I had End All, which I believe is a safer brand product, which contains the potassium salts of fatty acid, pyrethrins, and neem. And then I ran out and switched to this. A number of the plants that I used that other product on, the foliage ended up burning. Even though I didn't really turn the lights on, I kept all my grow lights off, they still burned. And when you're using any oil-based product, you just have to be hyper aware of where you put the plant after you use it. Make sure that you're not putting it anywhere too sunny, because it's just like tanning oil. It will magnify, intensify that sunlight, and potentially burn the leaves. I used this on a number of other plants that I didn't apply the other product to, and am much happier with the fact that it doesn't burn the leaves. So keep in mind, any of your more delicate plants, you might want to steer clear of oil-based products. So for now, I am very happy with the Spinosad. This is something that, you want to be aware it can harm beneficial insects. And unfortunately, that's the risk you take when you're applying chemicals. Now, it's not quite so bad for indoor houseplants, especially if you're not using ladybugs, things like that. But it can be a problem if you use it outdoors, so just be very conscientious of that. Always apply things that you're not sure about or know to be somewhat toxic at night when the pollinators aren't out and about. And obviously don't apply it to plants that are in flower, that are attracting all these beneficial pollinators. So I am happy with this. As with all chemicals, just be cautious. Now, this is a systemic, and it is a granular houseplant systemic that is an imidacloprid. Again, another chemical that can be dangerous to pollinators. Again, I use this on houseplants only, and I don't really have any bugs inside that are beneficial. Primarily just things that I am trying to nuke. I really do enjoy this product. It is super effective. One thing to keep in mind with it, and really a lot of other things, is that bugs can build up a tolerance for them. So it's a good idea not to rely on just one thing. I have been using this for quite a while now. I am trying to limit nowadays the things that I do use it on to those that are really heavily infested. I find myself using this primarily on a lot of succulents that have a really bad breakout of mealybugs and maybe like scale when I see it. I have occasionally used it on a few other plants, but I'm trying to limit myself. It is super effective, and to keep it effective, you should try and limit it as much as you can so you don't have bugs that have a tolerance for it. So, quick video, guys. I hope you found it useful. I would love to hear what some of your favorite products are and why. As always, stay safe, healthy, and sane. I will talk to y'all soon. Goodbye.